Previously we were looking at the colon operator, and we know that generally it is used in the start colon step colon end format just to create the equally spaced vector of values from the starting point till the end point with the specified step. And also we have understood that if you omit the step value, it's going to be considered as step size equal to 1. So the next concept is related to the workspace variables. All right, so we have several uh, variables present in the workspace of MATLAB, let's assume, and in such case, what are the things that we can do with them? All right, so the side heading I want to write as workspace variables. Now, basically, workspace contains variables that were created within the MATLAB, or the variables which we imported to the MATLAB from data files or any other programs or anything like that. Okay, so anyway, right now we may not be able to show how to import something, because import data, import, export, etc. is a completely different chapter under the fundamentals, which we are going to deal at a later stage. But what I can show you now is okay, so let's create something. A and B are already there, right? So let's create some other matrices now. Okay, so the first matrix I want to create, okay, I want to tell you one very specific function, very special function in MATLAB, which is called as a magic. Okay, so C is equal to this is the magic. It actually is used to create a matrix at random. Okay, so I'll specify the size as 4, right? It creates a 4 into 4 matrix of very special characteristics. You can see that. So you can see C has been created. Since the size is specified as 4, it is actually it created 4 into 4. But what is the specialty of this matrix? Why it is called as magic? Because you add the row wise, right, or the column wise, the sum is going to remain same. All right, so that's why it is a magic. You can do the same thing with the magic of 5 as well, right? So it creates a 5 into 5 matrix. Row wise and column wise you add, you get the same number irrespective of which row or which column you are adding. Okay, that's the specialization of this magic command in MATLAB. Again, it's there's no specific reason why it's used, right? You can use it when you don't have any specific thing in mind and you simply want to create a matrix. Okay, so you can use it. So just remember, there is one such command called magic. Anyway, it will not come under any of our standard syllabus of fundamentals. So just I thought to tell you, there is one more command whenever you want to do something at random. All right, so there is a command called rand. So let me use that. So d is equal to, this is rand, saying that it is random. So I will show you how to create a 3-dimensional vector, right? So it's like matrix is 2-dimensional. You can actually extend a matrix, like I write one matrix in the first page of my book, then I write another matrix of the same size in the second page of the book, third page of the book, like that. You extend the matrix, right, in a different dimension. That is called as a third dimension of this. So I can create a multiple dimensional vector as well in MATLAB. So this is, say, for example, I want to create 3 rows, 5 columns, and I want to write 2 such matrices. So 2 in the sense 3 comma 5 matrix in the first page, another 3 comma 5 in the second page. So I just want to restrict over there, so I just stop here. Okay, so when you enter, you see this is the 3 comma 5 which is written in the first page. This is another 3 comma 5 written in the second page. You can see that this is first. The third subscript is the something like a z-axis, x, y, and z. Z is 1 and 2. So first row, sorry, first page 3 comma 5, second page another 3 comma 5, like that. Let's assume, right? So we created something. So rand is another function, okay, to create the random values between 0 and 1. So you see, it's not whole number, they are right? Like the real numbers between 0 and 1 will be created. Anyway, I can definitely convert this into real numbers by multiplying by some larger number, maybe 1000. If you multiply, everything will be converted into the into integer values, right? So we can do that. Fine. So RAND is another function. Right? Anyway, the RAND will come later in the specific topics of MATLAB. But as of now, let's say we have our intention is to look at the workspace and deal with the workspace variables. So assume that when you write a code and you run the code, means you can have hundreds of variables present over here. Okay, that's the workspace. When that happens, uh, we may require some details to be extracted from the workspace, right? For some program, I'm using a program. I want to check uh, or view the contents of the workspace, right? Somewhere. So for that, you have a specific command called whos, WHOS. So just see, when I enter WHOS and press enter, you see the name, size, size in bytes, what class it is, and if you have any attributes to those variables, you can see them. So this is visible directly on the command window, provided, right, you use the command called WHOS in the command window. So that's one very useful command in MATLAB to see the contents of the workspace. We can see the contents of the workspace in the command window. All right. So the first one is WHOS. This is to view the contents of workspace. So how many various variables are present in the workspace? The details will be seen like this. So you can see that the variables also appear in the workspace pane of this MATLAB GUI, and the workspace variables which do not exist after we exist this MATLAB, right? So whenever you want to save something, so for example, if I close the MATLAB now by simply closing this, right, all the variables are lost. So whichever variables we have here, like A, B, C, D, right, they are lost, right? So I run some program, I got some results, and I want to save these results when I come back next time. Okay, so possible. It is possible that we may require, we may have such a requirement, right? I want to save the present workspace variables. So that's our next objective. So how to save the workspace variables? So we use a specific command called save, right? This is used to save the workspace variables so that you can use it in at a later stage. Okay, so let's see how this works. So I have, this is the this is the way of writing the command. So you write it, you write save space, you have to specify the name in which you want. Maybe this is my data. My data will be the name of the file that is going to create to save these variables. But you see, it has to be .mat, .mat format. That .mat is the most familiar what you call format for MATLAB, because MATLAB can read and write any format. It can write the CSV files, it can read and write the Excel sheets, it can read and write the text format. Everything is possible. You can write. So we'll come to that part, how to write different files, read different files at a later stage. But right now, we will deal with only one case, that is quickest. Out of all the formats, whichever is the quickest to read and quickest to write for MATLAB is a .mat format. So we simply say save. I'm commanding MATLAB to save my all the workspace variables by this. So even if you don't specify the .mat, right, it will write in the mat format itself. Anyway, I'm going to show you that in a while. So things to observe now, you have to look at the current folder, right? So there is only one folder called dataset which is present over there. Now when I press enter, after this you will observe that there will be a new file created, right, by the name my data. Okay, so observe now, I'm pressing enter. Yeah, I pressed enter, so you it will come in a while. You can see that it's creating a my data.mat. Right. So you see now, if assume that I close the MATLAB, closing in the sense it will clear all the variables. Correct. You see everything that is present on the workspace is vanished. Right. I closed MATLAB and I reopened it. It opens like this. Right. Now how to bring it back? I can simply create ABCD, but those values I don't remember. What are the values I actually put? I don't remember. How to bring them back? You simply use another command called load. Okay, give a space, then enter the name my data, right? Press enter. You see on the right side workspace brings back all the variables, right? So any set of variables which you have created in the workspace, you can save it to the mat format quickly by writing a save, using a save command, and load command can be used to bring it back at any point of time. Okay, so let me write about the loading of the values. So this is the load command can be used to load the saved variables, right, from, we are going to read them from the current folder. From the current folder we can read it. Okay, now let's move back to MATLAB to see some of the varieties of these commands. So the one option is like this. Okay, let me delete this mydata.mat. Okay, now what I want to do here is I just clear the command window only. I still have the workspace. I want to write only A and C. Okay, I don't want to say, okay, first let me save all the values once again. So it's my data. You don't have to specify the .mat as well, because that's the default way of writing. So simply write my data. You can see that my data .mat gets created first thing. So you don't have to specify the .mat format. That's the first thing to remember. Now what if I want to save only a part of workspace variables, not the whole, not everything? So then you use save, give a name, maybe my data1, right, space, specify which variables you want to save. This is like a and c. So right, so something like space, variable name, space, the other variable name, and so on. You can write all the four as well, no problem, it will save everything. So you see when I enter, my data1 gets created, right? So my data1, actually you can see the details below here, right? So this is a details window, which I didn't talk about yesterday when we started, right? So but now you see it actually gives you the details. When you click over the my data, it tells you the details of that particular file. It says that there are 4 variables saved. At the same time, when you click on my data one, it says that two of them are saved because you use the two. Definitely, you can load anything you want. Like okay, so let me clear. So when I load my data one, you can see A and C are getting restored. All right. So I can definitely call my data that will restore all the four. Okay, so reading and writing and optional way of writing only certain workspace variables to a particular file is also possible. Okay, all right. Now then, moving further in the workspace variables. So loading and saving is over, and now let's slightly quickly move on to the text and characters, right? How to deal with the text and characters in MATLAB. The next topic is text, and so like in any other programming language, we can work with the text, right, or the characters. So just to declare that I'm using the text now to store in a variable. So anyway, there is nothing like declaring or declaring the variable like C or any other language. You can directly use it, but you just have to use double quotes, right? So characters, I can say use double quotes. For example, I want to write T is equal to, I just want to say hello world, right? So text includes, right, the characters or the combination of characters, right? It's like, anyway, it's going to consider it as a array itself. All right, now let's see the usage. We'll enter say t is equal to double quote. So you can see that it creates this. Now I'll show you another version of the whos, right? I can actually look at the detail of only one of the variable which I want to check. I don't have to enter C. When I enter WHOS, it gives the details of the entire workspace, right? All the variables that are present, right? We can see over there. But now you can actually apply the whos to a specific variable. Just I want to know the details of one of the variable, just enter the variable name after this. So whose space, now I entered the text, right? So I enter this. So you see this belongs to a different class. Previously the variables were double, right? Now it is string. So automatically whenever it MATLAB is going to see the double quotes, it understands that okay, this is uh, a string class, and it assigns that class to that variable. So you can see the size and other details you can see over there. Okay, now this is the first thing, very straightforward. Now what if your text itself includes a quote, double quote, because double quote is a part of the text itself, correct? So that is possible to include like this. Say, let me just write in this way. So I can actually include a quotes inside the quotes, right? You just have to use two double quotes within the definition, right? So let me write that point first, and then we'll write the command on the screen. Okay, so if say double quotes, if the text, I can write if the text includes double quotes, right? This implies we are supposed to use uh, two double quotes within the definition. This is what is required. For example, let me write a q is equal to like this. So I wanted to show this is the normal text, something I want to write quoted with the quote. So you use double quotes. This is quoted. You see, you are using double quotes for this, out of which one of the quotes will come even when we print. Okay, something quoted, and something else. So this ends my uh, text. So okay, I end with the double quote. So this means it will print the quote, which is actually quote inside the quote. So should look like this. Okay, so this is q is equal to like this is something. I use two quotes, something quoted, right? Comma, something not, right? Just close this and press enter. You see the quoted comes, right? Again, this is a text handling, right? When this in the common programming this may not be used, but whenever you want to write a text file as a result of some results you obtain from the from executing some algorithms, this is useful, right? Okay, because some of the hardware interfaces which we use, they use quotes as the standard characters, right? In such cases we need them. Okay, then let's move ahead. Let's see, if I want to add the text to the end of a string, right? I have something and I want to add a text to the end of some string. I have two text, and I also have to convert, add something to the end, right? Then I am going to use what is called as a plus operator. This is important. This also might be very useful. So this is to add the text to the end of any string, so you have to use the plus operator, that is plus. For example, I'll just show you the example directly in MATLAB. Okay, so let me first clear all. Okay, so let me initially create something like maybe f is equal to 71. I create a variable f, say something like I want to do a conversion, so c is equal to uh, maybe this is f minus 32 divided by this is 1.8. Okay, if you remember, this is the conversion equation to be used whenever I want to convert the Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius. All right, so let's just a dummy code. Okay, so I use this. Now it definitely creates the C as well. Now I want to write something, I want to display this on the screen, let's assume. So I create my temp text is equal to. So let us say I will start with the temperature is. All right. Then I give a space. So this is over. Temperature is so much. So that so much is present in C, right? So I'll just write a plus C. Okay. So you see the C will be printed over there. Then I'll write another plus, and I want to say that I want to show how it is measured. So that will be degrees C, correct? So I'll simply write C. Okay, so you can see that what I'm trying to display here is that temperature is, that is how much is the answer? I think answer is 21.66 C, right? So want to display that. So you can see I'm using the plus operator here. Okay, so just note. See, this is what is displayed. So whenever you want to add a string at the end of another string, you can simply use the C. Okay, the plus operator like this. Very useful, and we need this. Okay, then we are still under the text and the character. So the next application or next usage is in terms of identifying the length of a specific string which is unknown to us. Okay, so that can be done using a specific command called strlength. So similar to the one which is present in C. All right, so let me write in this way. Uh, First, let me show you, right, multiple elements in a string array. So let me go for a string array first. This actually includes multiple string arrays. Then you can use the function strlength. This function can be used to find the length of each string in the array. Whichever array is defined, we can find that string in the array. Okay, so let's see that now. Okay, so let me first create a array of strings. All right, so A is equal to, so I want to create an array. So array means it is a matrix. So how do you start for a matrix? Default, it's a square bracket. But the elements inside this particular array is not the normal numbers. They are the characters or the strings. So characters or the strings, specify them inside a double quote. Okay, so this is right. I have to specify anyway, space is also going to work, but anyway, I want to stick to the rules. So then bb, then ccc. Okay, then maybe I want to create some more. Then all right, so then I close this and I press enter. So you can see it's a 1 into 6 string array has been created. All right, so the generation of that array is straightforward, like you create a normal array, but since it is a string, you have to use double quotes to specify. Okay, this is the first thing. Now, can you create a matrix out of this? Anyway, this itself is a matrix of, it's a row matrix, or you can even convert this into a column matrix. But what if I change this comma into semicolon, right? What do you expect? Semicolon means go to a new row, right? So now I am expecting this, I'll change the variable name as well. Okay, so A is like that. So I'll create a B. Okay, just see, it's now it's a 2 into 3 string array, 2 rows, 3 columns, right? That's how it is. Now again, we have the string length, right? That there was a command which we just discussed about. So let's use that. So str length of that. Say first, let me check with A. What's the answer? So it says what I wrote earlier. I think it calculates the each and every sorry, the length of each and every element should be present. In a sense, the size of this answer should be the same as the size of your array you created, correct? So that's what we are expecting now. So let me move back, and let me press enter. So you see it's 1 2 3 4 5 6, because the string array A has 6 elements, and the sizes of each elements are written over there, right? A, first element is just A, so the length is 1. Second is B, so 2. C, 3, and so on. Now, what do you expect when I find the length of the same matrix, which is the B? If I enter B, same 1 2 3 4 5 6 will be written, but it is in the format 2 cross 3. Okay, because right, it's giving the length of each and every element of that particular matrix with their positions uh, retaining. Like A has size 1 and it is located in this position of that matrix. So BB is present in this position and length is 2, and like that. Okay, fine. Then, so string length is that command. All right. Now, let us say sometimes I want the characters to be present, characters to represent the data, and like I don't want to represent the whole data as string, but I want to represent the uh, characters, right? Not in the string format, right? So this is what you can do. In the sense, I don't want to store it in the string format. I want to store as a sequence of characters, one string as a sequence of characters. By default we know that, but how to tell MATLAB that store this data in a character format rather than storing it as a string format? Because you can see the previous example, whenever I entered BBB, right, the whole BBB is occupying one location. It's not B and B. I want, whenever I enter BB, right, the first B is one character, second B is the other character. That's what I want, right? That's how I want to save. Not in this format. This is like the whole A is one thing, whole BB is another object, CCC is the third element, DDDD all together is one element of that array. Now I don't want that. I want, right, each and every character should be able to recognize as a separate entity. Okay, so that's my objective now. So let's try to understand how to do that. So in MATLAB, if I want to perform such an operation, then I need to specify that using a single quote, right? So character arrays. So this means you should use single quotes. So whenever you use a single quote, right, you will be able to represent the text as uh, text as a character array rather than whole text as a single element in the form of a string. Okay, so let's try to understand that first. So let me write a command to show you this. So let me write a sequence is equal to single quote. Okay, ATTGGC, right? So you see it's a sequence. Now how do you differentiate between this and the strings? So if you look at the strings, right, if I use a whos, WHOS, now you see the difference. You see the class is not string, class is character, and the size is 1 into 8 because there are 8 characters in this. Okay, so size is like this, and you can see that it's not okay. I'll create another variable just to differentiate. So if I say okay, a is already there, I'll just write who's a. So a is actually a string. Okay, and this is okay. I think a was a matrix, that's why it is showing 1 into 6 because, right, it has 6 elements in the matrix. Okay, if I change this, say a is simply equal to, I'll write a double quote, I'll enter the six or how many, 8 elements. Okay, 8 elements I enter. So just enter this. Now if you look at the who's a, you see size is 1 into 1. The whole text is a single entity. Okay, but when I write it in the single code, it takes all the 8 characters as different entities. That's why it is class is character, and there are 8 elements. Though you enter 8 elements in this, since you use a double quote, it belongs to the class string and it uses the whole text as a single entity, and that's the difference between the character array and the strings. Okay, so characters and strings can be differentiated using this particular technique. Okay, now how to we can actually write concatenate, like just like we do the concatenation of any other type of data, we can do the concatenation here, right? Just see this. So the concatenation, I already have something like the sequence, right? So I create, say b is equal to, I open this, so I just want to write the sequence first, right? This is the first part, and I want to concatenate and some other text, right, in the character formats, right? One, two, three, something I enter. All right, so now you see the whatever is there in the sequence, this will be concatenated with this part. Okay, as a result, I close this and I enter. You see, this is what you get. You are concatenating them in the same fashion. Okay, so the concatenation works pretty much well like this. Okay, then moving ahead, the next part of MATLAB is going to deal with some of the basic functions, and I want to include them under a part called calling the functions. So anyway, we know that in any of the programming language we have two types, right? We have two types of functions. First type of function is built-in. If something which already exists, standardized way of writing the code in the form of a function, that's a built-in. And the second one is user-defined, right? So now our intention is just to call a function. Okay, so preferably we use the built-in functions. Some of the very basic built-in functions we'll use just to get familiar with the way of calling the functions. Okay, so this is calling functions, I'll write to perform some sort of computational tasks. So I'll directly go for an example rather than writing them up over here. Okay. So, right. Right. So now let me create an array first. Okay. So let's say A is equal to, this is 1, 5, 3, 6, 8, 9, 0, -5, -6, something like this. Okay. Let me have an array like this. Now I use a function. This is an example to find the use the function as well. Okay. There is a function called max. As the name suggests, this is used to calculate a maximum element of an array. Okay, so if I write A, the answer will be displayed finding out after finding out which is the maximum. You see 9 is the maximum in this array A, and you get the value as answer equal to 9. So you found this. So the calling function, in the sense, you have to pass some variables to the function and the function gets executed, very much similar to the C, Java, C++ or any other language. Okay, so I'll give some examples okay, let me go for another example, because max can be used in variety of ways in MATLAB. So let me use two matrices now. So this is B is equal to, I'll try to create a very similar length of the, or like A. This is 6, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many elements in A? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let me write 8 elements: 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I think I entered 8 elements over here. Now you see, I'm going to call the max in a different way. So this is max of, I'll call A comma B. So just observe what's going to happen. So out of it, it's going to compare both matrices or both vectors A and B element by element and return the maximum of those two. Like the first elements of both matrix A and matrix B are compared, and it returns which is highest. So let's see the second one, 8 and 5. 8 is big. 3 and 3, so they are equal, so 3 is returned. Then 6 and -5, so 6 is returned. Then 9 and -9, 9 is, and so on. So you can see this is how it's used, right? So we can use max in this way. Okay, so calling function is in the same fashion, right? You can even assign the answers to this. So max is actually a wonderful function. I'll show you something more about max, but anyway, everything will come later in a later everything will come in a later stage when we discuss about the specific functions related to, right, a specific application. Okay, when we deal with arithmetics, this is going to come later, but anyway, the max we are going to use many times, so I want you to be more clear about this. So you see, I can actually use this max function to assign the result to some other value. So maybe I will call this as a max value is equal to max of A. So you see, max value is 9. So that 9 which was answer in earlier case has been assigned. This is one application. Anyway, we know that. So I can actually find out the value and the location as well. So something like, so you just have to, it's an array. So that's why I have to use a square bracket. So the max the value and the location. Okay, two things I can get from max of A. So you see the result, max value is 9 and it is located in 5th position of that array. So see, I can extract it directly. All right, so like that, that's how it can be done. Okay, then I'll show you another function, standard function, which we might have to use. This is simply disp. You want to display something, you can use it. I use it for displaying a character array like hello world. All right, so please, so this is getting displayed directly on the screen, right? So another function, so we are discussing the functions of how to call the functions. All right, so very basic functions we could look here, but all I wanted to convey how to call some functions, right, in MATLAB. And I think that is sufficient for understanding calling of a function and how the function the values the function returns can be used in MATLAB.